It's the year 198X. The bulb of the torture cell is lit and hung right on the head of the prisoner. The prisoner is hung using the chains tied to his hands. His body is covered in bruises and blood he received after being tortured. Even his feet are tied so that he cannot resist using them. A fly is sitting on his face sucking his blood. It is crawling on his face, but he still looks calm despite all the irritation he is facing. The first word that comes out of his mouth after all the interrogation and torturing is food. The head officer is surprised to hear what he just said. One of the torturers says that the South Korean army may serve the spies with food but they do not. The prisoner says that he will confess everything as they want if they give him some food as he is starving. The head officer asks if he really meant it. He says he will give him some food but he has to tell about his goals and infiltration route in return. The prisoner agrees and says he was just trying to make a living by joining the army but this way he will just die starving. The head officer orders the subordinate to bring some food from the kitchen but he questions his order so he gets angry and asks him to shut his mouth. He tells them that they have to hand over this prisoner to their superiors tomorrow and they will steal their merits if they could not get the information from him. So the prisoner is unhung and is served the food. He is given the spoon and the chopsticks to eat the food but his hands are still chained. He holds the spoon with his fingers and starts taking the soup. He says that this soup tastes like nothing. Then he picks one of the chopsticks while saying that military food always tastes horrendous. One of the subordinates says that the taste of the food is not important right now. He should just eat and inform them about him. Suddenly that chopstick spears in the head of the head officer. At first he himself does not understand what has happened but then he falls on the table as he is dead now. The soldiers are shocked to see this as they could not notice anything happening. The prisoner tells him that the taste of the food definitely matters. He is holding the second stick in his hand. All of those torturers run towards him to kill him but he kills them all with that one chopstick. He tells those dead men that he is a senior intelligence sergeant and his name is Du Zhenjian. And his infiltration route was swimming through the ocean and his goal was to kill them the same way he just did. Then he sees the fly who was irritating him earlier so he aims at it with that stick and kills it. After a while Du Zhenjian is sitting with Lieutenant Colonel Park in a small restaurant in Seoul City. The lieutenant tells him that there is no one like him in their company. Why does he want to leave? Zhenjian replies that the military food has lost its taste but the food here looks delicious. The lieutenant smiles and adds the meat chunks in the bone soup. He gives the rest to Zhenjian. Zhenjian picks a chunk with the chopstick and says he does not eat like Park does. He takes some rice without scooping everything at once then adds it to the soup. This way he can enjoy the food until the end without the leftover rice getting soggy. While he is eating Park asks him if he is not going to stop because of that operation. Zhenjian asks what he is asking as he just came back after finishing this time's operation. Park says that Zhenjian knows exactly which operation he is talking about. Park says that at that time the plan was to come back alive and when he came back alone he did not fail. Zhenjian says it is not about that operation. After a pause in conversation he says thank you to Park for taking on him and helping him in making a living. Park says he did everything right and he hopes that Zhenjian will be recognized for his abilities even after he leaves 1 year after at a construction site. Two laborers are commenting on Zhenjian's work that he is very efficient at carrying heavy loads and digging. It is lunch break time. Zhenjian is going towards the bank. Here he looks at a girl on the counter who is busy dealing with an old woman. That girl looks towards him and he waves at her with a smiling face. It all began 1 year ago when he started working at a construction company. When he got his first wage the owner advised him to save some money for the future as it will help in doing what he really wants. But he did not know what he wanted to do in future at that time. Still he went to the nearest bank during his lunch break and opened an account there. That day he saw Sienna for the first time and fell in love with her at first sight. And after that he started going there every single day during lunch break time just to see her. He found out that she belongs to a poor family and started working here right after graduating from high school. He also told her that he was a soldier. She asked him if he did not save any money during his military service. He tells her that he saved money then but gave it to the families of soldiers who died. Now he is working hard again to save more money. Today he is here again to deposit some money into his savings account. She asks him to deposit money once a month. Otherwise it's a lot of work for him. He says he is fine this way as he can see her daily by coming here daily. And that's how he found a reason to live well. But still he cannot live well. He is listening to news on TV while lying on the sofa at his home. He thinks about his past at the moment he grew up. He took training for every popular skill and survived missions of high difficulty. Suddenly someone knocks at his door. He asks who is there. The person asks if this is First Sergeant Do. He opens the door partially and asks who he is. The person introduces him as Jo T-moon and says they have worked together. Jen is surprised to see T-moon well dressed and wearing a costly watch. He asks T-moon how he found him. T-moon replies that he searched for him everywhere and eventually found him. He tells Jen that he has a job request for him. Jen asks what kind of job it is. He replies that the kind he is best at. Jen says he does not want to get his hands dirty for money. T-moon clarifies that he does not want him to kill anyone. He just wants him to teach someone a lesson. Jen gets serious and asks him to be honest with him about what he exactly wants. T-moon says he is a successful entrepreneur in the public's eyes, but in reality he is the boss of a gang and the person he wants him to take care of is the boss of another gang. Jen tells him that he did not leave his army job to do something like that. T-moon asks what he means by something like that. He further asks if he quit his job to live in a place like that while working a construction job. Jen asks him to be careful about what he says. T-moon says if he agrees to do this job he will pay him 50 million won and with that money he can buy a good house or start a business to make his life better. Jen thinks that he cannot save that much even in 10 years while working this construction job. Jen gives him his card and says he can come visit him here if he changes his mind. Before leaving he says that it is strange that someone like him tries to avoid the work he is best at. Jen puts that visiting card on the side table. While lying on the floor he thinks that he did not come here to live like that, but he can try to do what he had been doing just a bit longer and he will find out if he really cannot live without doing that thing he is good at. While thinking about this he falls asleep. The next day at the construction site there are many racks of cement bags present there. When he reaches there his boss asks him to carry all these bags up where they are needed. He asks where other workers are. The boss replies that he just called him for today as he saw him the other day carrying loads and he thinks he can do this work without any help. Jen looks at his smiling face and thinks if this guy is for real. Sienna and her colleague are standing outside the bank taking tea. He looks at the sky and says how he will get through today. Her colleague asks why she is saying that. Her face always lightens up when it is lunch time. Sienna asks what she is talking about. Her colleague replies that she is really nice to Jen. It seems she is interested in him. Sienna replies that he just comes to add money in his savings account during lunch break. If this were a store he would be one of their regular customers so she would have to treat him nicely. Her colleague says she is probably right as Jen is not that good looking nor is he rich. This comment makes Sienna uncomfortable. She smiles and says he might not be handsome but he has a nice body though. Her colleague replies that it is because he works at a construction site and has to lift bricks and heavy loads all day. Sienna says her father used to work at the construction site as well but he never had a body like his. She leans on her and says she should get her nose out of her business and she'll stay out of hers. She warns her by saying that she knows about her affair with that manager who looks down at them. While sitting on her counter she wonders why she got mad earlier when talking about Jen. Suddenly he enters the bank and waves at her. She says it is not the lunch break yet so why is he here? He replies that he will be busy later so he came a little early. She asks if he is here to put money in his account. He says he just came to see her as he is going somewhere. She tries to understand what he is talking about. He waves goodbye at her and says he will put a lot of money in his account once he comes back. Her cheeks become red by thinking that he just came to see her here. He takes a ticket to Daesun and takes the bus to meet T-moon there. While sitting in the bus and looking at that visiting card he thinks that things will probably get better if he does so. T-moon and his driver are already there to pick him up when he reaches D-Senator. While sitting in the car T-moon shows the picture of the target named Park Gwan-ho. He tells him that at present they both are fighting for the rights to the tourist hotel's slot machines. According to the rules he cannot fight him directly, as this way he himself will lose the right to the machines, but if an unknown outsider that has nothing to do with their ordeal suddenly shows up and does this, things would run smoothly and he can get those rights. He warns Jen that it will not be easy, as Park knows that he will come for him, so he is under full security. He suggests that they should wait for a bit until he lowers his guard. Jen asks him what time it is. Taemun startles on this question of his. He tells him that it is past 12:30. Jen says it means there is a lot of time left until it is 4:30 p.m. The banks close at this time. He asks him to take him to Park so he can take care of him quickly. Then Taemun will be able to deposit money in his bank account before the banks close. Taemun asks if he goes now he will have to fight a lot of guys on security. Jen says it should not bother him. Taemun takes him to the hotel where Park and his underlings are having lunch. He also warns him about the special guard of the park who is always with Park. That guy used to be an Siren player. Jen asks what is the best dish at this restaurant. The driver informs him that the special dish here is their fried dumplings. Jen says he will be back soon and gets out of the car. Park is enjoying his lunch while all his underlings are present there as well. Jen is sitting at a separate table in the corner having the fried dumplings in front of him. He takes soy sauce and vinegar in a 1-to-1 ratio and pours them in a bowl. Then he sparkles the powdered red pepper in it. He dips the dumpling in it and eats it. The taste of the food satisfies him. He finishes his meal, takes the drink and thanks God for this delicious meal. After that he throws the glass towards Park and it smashes on the wall behind him. That fat guy asks what is wrong with him. Jen says he is trying to pick a fight as the noises his boss made while chewing food were annoying. Park looks at him in a weird way and orders his boys to get him, and they all run towards him to attack him. After a while everywhere on the floor are scattered food, broken furniture and beaten men. Only Jen is standing keeping his hands inside the pockets. Park is leaning by the wall in the beaten state. He asks him who he is, as there is no way he did not know a man as powerful as him in this field. Jen replies that he can remember him as an outsider with severe anger management issues. He smirks while his nose is bleeding and asks who sent him. He says he will pay him double the amount if he works with him. Jen thinks if that guy has enough money to pay him 100 million won. Park gets that he is paid very handsomely. He says that it does not matter because Jen asks him because what? Why has he stopped speaking? Suddenly he realizes that someone is behind him. It is that fat guy holding a stole in his hands and ready to attack him. Jen defends himself by using his arms when that guy attacks. He feels immense pain, like something inside his body has broken. He is about to hit him again, but Jagnon kicks between his legs quickly. Tears ran down his face because of the pain. He falls on the ground and becomes unconscious. Jen looks at Park and asks him if it is 4:30 p.m. He looks at his watch and says it is not even 2 p.m. yet. Jen says it is good and walks away. Jen and Taemun come out of the bank after depositing money in Jen's account. Taemun says he did not think that they would have made it before the bank closing time. He asks what Jen is going to do with this money. He replies that he is not sure, but he saw some apartments near the bus terminal this morning and he may buy one of them. Taemun says that the neighborhood is not very good. He should look for an apartment somewhere in the middle of Seoul. Jen says he can try stocks as well, as everyone is doing it nowadays. Taemun asks if he has a stock in his mind. He suggests that he can go for Han Electronics, as there is no chance for a company to go bankrupt who is responsible for supplying electricity to the whole country. Jen says Sam Electronics seems fine to him, as the new chairman of that company is a smart guy. Suddenly he feels pain like he just got an electric shock. He asks if they can go to the hospital as it hurts where he got a hit. Taemun says they can go to the hospital that he visits regularly. Jen asks what he means by regularly. He replies that there is an old doctor who does not seem surprised when he shows up there after getting stabbed or hurt. His both arms got plastered and he wonders what has happened to him. The doctor tells him that his arms are fractured. The cracks will take a month to heal. Jen shockingly asks if he really has to stay like this for a month. The doctor warns him not to use his arms at all, as it will just delay the healing process. Jen does not like the state he has stuck in. T-Moon mocks him and says someone is going to have a bit of a difficult time from now. They both go to a bar and drink. Jen feels great, but then he asks if he is allowed to drink in this state. T-Moon asks if he really does not remember how he taught them to drink to heal the wounds. Jen laughs and says it's been a while since he heard that line. They both keep drinking and remembering their old days in the army when they worked together. T-Moon says he always knew that Jen was strong, but he didn't know he would beat so many people in such a short amount of time. Moreover, he won the fight with his bare hands. He says he had pre-ordered weapons too just in case he needed them. Jen asks how he managed to get weapons. While pouring more whiskey, T-Moon tells him that shotguns are easily available, but he smuggles pistols from Russia. Jen says he has found a job that suits him well. He replies that the army suited him better. He says the special forces suited Jen well and asks why he left that job. He becomes gloomy and says he and 3 of his juniors participated in a mission, but he was the only one who came back alive. T-Moon is shocked. Jen says he felt like he no longer had the right to continue the job, so he quit. He assumed that they would come in his dreams, but they never did. Maybe they hate him very much. T-Moon asks him to have another drink. They both look at all those empty bottles and realize they have drunk a lot. Jen stands up and says he is leaving. T-Moon asks him how he would go home now. T-Moon says he will take the bus as he just wants to sleep in his own bed. T-Moon says he can book him a room in a hotel and he can go tomorrow. But Jen leaves anyways. While walking on the pavement, he feels like he has eaten too much, so he sits on the bench. But as he had drunk too much, he fell asleep there on the bench. A van of a homeless guidance center passes by him and stops, seeing him lying on the bench. Some workers come out and see this drunken man with both arms crippled lying there. They decide to bring him in and give him some guidance, so they take him with them to the Decent Welfare Society. Jen is seeing a dream. He is in a field and it is dark everywhere. Someone is calling his name. He turns back sharply as the voice is coming from behind. He sees 2 men in uniforms. Those 2 are wearing the same lockets. He recognizes them as they were his junior fellows on that mission. Suddenly he sees a gun on the ground near his feet. He picks it up and puts it on his head and says if this is what they want, he will do it. Suddenly he wakes up from his dream. He sees a guy is clapping near his head to wake him up. Jen sits, but his arms are still hurting. He asks that guy who he is and where he is now. He tells him that his name is Lee Sunjo and this place is a decent welfare facility. That outfit is inmates' clothing. While he is explaining all that, Jen stands up and walks away. Sunjo asks him where he is going. Jen stops near the door as it is locked. He wonders why it is locked from inside. Sunjo says he was going to explain that first. He tells him that this is the location where people are imprisoned by force. Jen is shocked and asks what he is talking about. Someone calls them from behind and asks what they are doing standing there. Sunjo tells him that that person is their platoon leader and has a bad temper, so Jen must not irritate him. But he is looking at the keys pinned with his arm. He asks him to give him the door keys. That guy looks at him with anger. So Jen kicks his leg and he yells in pain. He wants to punch in his face, but then remembers what the doctor told him about not using his arms, so he stops. 2 of that leader's subordinates ask for permission to crush Jen. That guy orders them to send him to the ward. One of them moves forward to beat him. Jen thinks that he can beat them even with his injured arms, but if Sunjo is right and they are imprisoned there forcibly, it would be difficult to escape with injured arms. To escape from here, his arms need to be healed properly. But if his arms get hit even mistakenly, his injury is likely to worsen. So what should he do? At the same time, Sunjo comes forward and tells them that this guy just came in last night and does not know where he is. And he has no idea who a great platoon commander is, therefore he behaved in that arrogant way. That guy thinks that it makes sense. Sunjo says they should give him one chance and he will educate him properly. That guy thinks and asks Jen to beg for mercy. Sunjo asks him to beg and say that it was all his fault. Jen is still shocked and processing what is happening here, but still he bends his head and apologizes. But that guy punches in his head and asks him to behave better. Then he asks everyone to go and prepare for the roll call. While sitting in a row, Sunjo tells him that he did great and he will explain the things a bit later. Jen observes that he is counting the people. He says there are a total of 24 people including the new guy. Then he unlocks the door. While going out, Jen asks Sunjo where are they going, and he replies that they are going to have breakfast. After listening to the name of breakfast, he becomes happy. He observes the surroundings and thinks that this is not a military base but it acts like one. It is not even a prison but it locks people. But the strangest thing is that they call this a breakfast. He wants to stab the person in charge with a chopstick in his forehead but they only give them a spoon. While eating the food, Sunjo tells him that this place is where the homeless people are brought in and guided. Jen says he is not homeless. Sunjo says none of the people there are homeless. This place is actually where anyone is captured and forced to work. The country funds every homeless person here, and to get that money, welfare imprisons people. Jen is shocked to hear that and asks who in the world does this to humans. Suddenly two well-suited men enter the room. Sunjo tells him that these are the people who do this to humans. These two are the director's sons. The one with the glasses is Park Gwang and he is the vice president here. The taller one is Park Yom and he is the general manager. Jen looks at them and guesses that they are inspecting there. Gwang comes to him and asks how he got these injuries on his arms. Sunjo tells him that Jen is the new inmate who came here last night. Gwang asks if it would be possible for him to live on welfare like this. Sunjo says he is taking good care of him and he will teach him everything. Gwang appreciates his efforts. Sunjo says he wants to be an honor student. Gwang gets his intentions and says he will remember his name the next time he picks for this post. Now Jen also finds the real motives of Sunjo for being so nice to him. Gwang asks Jen if the food here tastes good. He replies that the food is really bad here. Gwang asks what he just said. Sunjo also starts worrying as he was just doing good in front of the platoon leader but now he is again misbehaving. Jen says he does not think this food is for even humans as everything is so rotten in this food. Gwang lifts that tray and pours it on his head. He says that he should be thankful to them for giving him this food. He smashes the tray in his head and says how he dares to complain about anything. Blood rushes into the eyes of Jen due to anger but he does nothing due to his fractured arms. Gwang yells at Sunjo to teach him so he says nothing crazy anymore. After they leave, Sunjo asks Jen if he is alright. Jen is cleaning himself after that humiliation at the breakfast table. He cannot even clean himself properly due to his fractured arms. After that he and Sunjo are brushing the ground outside as this is the work they were assigned to. Jen says that his clothes are not drying properly as he wore them right after washing them up. He is still angry because of what Gwang did to him earlier. Sunjo tells him that his clothes will dry automatically when he works under the sun. He says that he should be relieved that Gwang did this to him before the bath time, otherwise he would have to wait to clean himself. He replies that it is unethical to do this to the people at all. An old bald inmate comes there carrying clothes to wash and says he agrees with the newcomer. Jen notices that his way of talking is a bit strange. Sunjo calls him Your Excellency and asks why he is here. Jen wonders if he meant the president when he called him Your Excellency. A man calls him from behind and says that His Excellence was to wash the clothes, so what he is doing outside there. His Excellence asks why it is him always who has to do the washing clothes. Jen asks why that guy was being referred to as Your Excellence. And why does he speak like he is the president? Sunjo says it is not that he is impersonating the president. It is that he thinks he is the president. That old man came back from the Vietnam War and after that he's been insane ever since. He sees things and has nightmares. He was very scared to see that bald president and shudders whenever he sees him on the news. As he ages he is balding and he cannot look in the mirror as it reminds him of that bald president. Jen says it is very unfortunate that he had to suffer through that owl. He asks Sunjo how he knows that much about him. He replies that that old man's friend was also locked up there and he told him everything but he died due to some disease. Jen shocks and asks if he died here at this place. Sunjo says many people die here. Some due to injury, some because of sickness or some because of getting beaten up by the staff or platoon leader. He says that the platoon leader said about sending him to the ward earlier if he remembers. If someone is sent to the ward, they do not treat him there. They just leave him until he dies. Jen says that these are really the bad guys. Suddenly the platoon leader calls everyone to assemble at the sports field right now. Sunjo tells him that today is the inquiry day and he can see the worst guy among all the bad guys. Jen wonders what he is talking about. All the inmates there stand in the rows to listen to the director of this welfare. His name is Park In-hee. Everyone bows in front of him. In-hee starts addressing and says there are various trees in the world and each of those have their own use. Likewise, humans also have their own use according to their perspective, characters and potential. However, those all standing in front of him are worthless beings who are completely worthless outside. He calls them twisted and unattractive trees. Then he says that just like Jesus, he became a carpenter, pruning and trimming useless trees like them so they can find their worth. Everyone starts clapping unwantedly. Jen does not like all the nonsense he is saying shamelessly. While pretending to listen to him, he discovers the structure of the welfare facility. This place is made by cutting off the middle of the mountain. Most of the place is surrounded by a high wall. The only place without the wall is the cliff where the mountain was cut. There is only one main gate. If he tries to escape through the gate, those guards will attack him at the same time. So it is difficult to escape with these arms. In-hee walks down the stage. He hugs his sons and says thank you for taking care of this place. Gwang goes on the stage and announces the name of the inmate selected as the honor student. Sunju is excited and hopeful that he might be selected as the honor student. Jen asks him what an honor student is. He replies that it is the person who is selected to send home from the welfare. Gwang says that the person selected this time is Kwak Daeong. Gwang calls him on the stage to say something. Daeong says thanks to him and says he is happy as he is finally going home. He is taken to the staff office where he asks when he will be sent home. Gwang tells him that the doctor will come and check his health last time before he is sent home. After a while the doctor comes there and does a general checkup of his and declares him healthy. Then he gives him an injection by saying that it is a nutrient that will keep him healthy outside. Soon Daeong falls unconscious. Two people carry him outside when Gwang asks them to take off his outfit as it can be used for a newcomer to save the money. Doctor calls Gwang amazing and asks how he can think about saving money in this situation. He replies that he is not a nonsense like him who gambled away all his money and now working under him. He warns him to stay in his limits if he wants to save himself. Daeong is lying unconscious in the operation theater room. The doctor asks the helper about today's order. He says it is liver and kidney. The helper asks if they should not put this guy on anesthetic gas as he may wake up anytime. The doctor thinks it is an insult and asks that helper to do just what he asks him to. Meanwhile Daeong wakes up and sits wondering where he is. The doctor tells him that they are just examining him so he does not be scared. He punches the doctor in his face and runs away from there. While listening to the noise, the general manager comes there and punches Daeong in his face. He drags him to the operation theater and shuts the door. T-Moon and his informant are sitting in the same restaurant. That guy informs T-Moon that Gwang Ho and all of his men are hospitalized, so their organization is paralyzed for now. As a result, Congressman Choi's office decided to grant them the right to operate a slot machine business right away. T-Moon puts his bowl down and laughs loudly by saying he is going to have a hangover. The informant tells him that Choi's office somehow already knows everything. It all happened in one day and he said he would give them the business immediately. T-Moon says Choi is an old clever man and his cleverness and quick decision-making made him a member of the parliament. The informant says that he would like to cut the ribbon to celebrate the opening of the slot machine if T-Moon has no problem with this. While eating the fried dumplings, T-Moon remembers the moment when Jang Gun asked about the special food of this restaurant. He smiles and says that these fried dumplings are really good. Then he thinks if Jang Gun reached home safely as his arms were injured. Meanwhile Jang Gun is capping the shower bottles at the welfare. Sunju says he has not told him about his name yet, so he replies that his name is Jang Gun. Then Sunju asks him about the work he used to do outside. He thinks and answers him that he used to do any work that used physical strength. Sunju asks if he injured his arms at his job place. He thinks about the moment when that fat guy hit him with the chair and says yes. The platoon commander comes there and asks them if it is necessary to talk during work. Sunju gets terrified and apologizes to him. The platoon commander asks Jang-gun what he did in front of the vice president that made him so angry. Before he answers, the platoon commander asks him to forget about the question and be careful next time. He does not answer him, so that guy hits him in his head and asks him to answer. Jang-gun grins and says yes. He looks at the keys hanging with his arms and asks Sunju why the barracks door is locked from inside. If they want to lock them up, they should lock them in from outside. Sunju replies that a long time ago someone came for inspection and said it is a problem to lock from outside, as then it looks like a prison. Since that day they lock the doors from inside. He further adds that they choose those to be the commander who had no authority outside, so they are obsessed with their new authority and do not consider them a prisoner. Jang-gun understands the whole situation now. Sunju says that he is feeling jealous as that guy would reach home by now, yet he is stuck here. The doctor hands over the organ box to the general manager. The doctor asks him not to mention the incident that happened earlier to the vice president. That guy looks at him and then kicks him in his gut. He asks him to call the vice president as sir. He tells him that he should accept the mistakes he makes and reflect on them. He throws an envelope of money in front of him and leaves. The doctor forgets about all the pain and guilt when he sees the money and starts thinking about the win in gambling today. The general manager goes to the smugglers and gives them the box. They pay him a handsome amount. He returns to his father's and gives him all the money. He praises him and asks him to rest, as it must have been difficult to deliver that box. Then he puts that money in a wallet that is already full with a lot of money and locks it after that. Everyone is sleeping there when they are made to get up early in the morning. While making his bed, Jang-gun thinks that he has been there for 4 days and has gotten used to this life. His experience of intensive training during his active career helped him adapt to this environment. But one thing that is still ridiculous to him is the food, but he has no other choice until his arms heal. So he makes him believe that he is on an operation to survive here. He wonders that a few days ago he was scared of nothing and had no worries at all, not even when he was at life-threatening missions. But now he is worried about one thing. He cannot go see Sienna at the lunch break. What if she forgets about him in the meantime? On the other hand, she is also waiting for him and is looking at the door in hope for him to show up. Her colleague asks him to go have lunch as it is lunch break. While standing outside the bank, she questions why he has not shown up for several days. When he left, he said that he would come back with a lot of money. She hopes that he is all well and nothing bad has happened to him.